today. Okay. And remember, this was a question that was given. Okay, dealing with toxicity. All right. So particularly it was toxicity in relationships. So probably the next time I teach it, I might have to break it up in parts, but just want to at least touch on it. And like I said, if there's any follow-up questions or anything like that, you can definitely feel free to ask any kind of questions you want. All right. So I want to start off with the definition. A lot of things that get thrown around. Let's see what it is. All right. All right. So the definition has it as the quality of being toxic or poisonous. All right. The quality of being very harmful or unpleasant in a pervasive or insidious way. All right. So you're going to focus on that being toxic and what? The quality of being harmful or unpleasant, those kind of things. All right. So we're dealing with relationships. I want to go to the beginning. I want to start this in the beginning. So let's go to Genesis chapter 2. All right. Let's go to Genesis chapter 2. Genesis chapter 2. Yeah. All right. Yeah, we got some verses. So let's go right to it. Genesis chapter 2, and let's start at verse 23. All right. Let's start at verse 23. Because this can be very broad and also very to the point. But let's start off from here. Genesis 2 and verse 23.
And Adam said, This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman because she was taken out of man.
All right. So she got what? Bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, is what Adam's saying. All right. She was taken from me. And that's a big important thing. She is a part of me. Right. This wasn't taken from somewhere. This is what? A part of me. All right. Bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. Listen to verse 24.
Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh.
Mm-hmm.
And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed.
So this part of verse 24 is very, very important. All right. Very, very important. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother and shall cleave unto his wife. All right. And they shall be one flesh. And the reason why I want to put this point, first of all, we need to see who's saying this because a lot of people think this is Adam to say this point, but we're going to see no, it's greater than Adam. All right. But this is one situation or one problem how toxicity gets into relationships. All right. This is why he's saying it right from the beginning. A man's going to have to what? Leave his father and mother. That don't mean abandon him where he can't love him and all that kind of stuff. But you going to have to understand your obligation changes. All right. You have to leave that father and mother and shall cleave unto his wife. All right. This process of cleaving is to become one with your wife. That's why you go to the next part. See the punctuation. And they shall be one flesh. Shall be one flesh. And a lot of times we talking about relationships, the whole thing with the marriage, a marriage is the merging of two. All right. So when you're understanding this, this is where the toxicity happens. What is keeping us from merging to be one? Okay, let's go to Matthew chapter 19. Matthew's chapter 19. And this makes it hard, right? That merging to be one, it makes it hard. And that's what toxicity is doing. So we don't merge. That's the harmful thing. We can't merge. All right. But let's go to verse 4. 19, Matthew 19. And Brother Kai, start us at verse number 4.
And he answered and said unto them, Have ye not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female?
Who made a male and female? God, right? Yeah, have you read it? You read it. You know this. He made a male and female all the way at the beginning. All right. Read to verse 5. Listen.
and said, for this cause shall a man leave father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and they shall be one flesh.
And he made this person that made a male and female, not the person, this entity, right? God made us male and female, all right, in the beginning, and said, and also put something else there. So even when there was a separation of male and female, he had a system, he had a plan to what? Merge them. And he said, what? For this cause, God said, for this cause shall a man leave father and mother. So this is a commandment as well. Because you'll see some of the sisters get upset because it's like, what? Well, you going all the way to your mother, you submit to them and dealing with them, and I get the secondhand stuff. No, you got to cut that off. When you accept the wife, that is you now. No more forsaken. That's you. So a man leave father and mother and shall cleave to his wife. He's telling you, you must cleave to your wife. And that's how you going to be what? One flesh. Okay? I'm trying to get the context. I can't go into the fullness of everything, but beloved, that's one part. All right? This is how the toxicity can, I'm using that word for the title for today, right? That's how the toxicity can get in there. Just from a man not separating that mother and father and cleaving to his wife. Okay? So this is how it can enter in through the man, just from the standpoint. Okay? Verse 6.
Wherefore they are no more twain, but one flesh. But therefore God hath joined together, let no man put asunder.
No more twain. No more I. It's we, us. Because the first thing that happens, what? When we get upset, when we mad, all these kind of things, what's the first thing our flesh want to do? Well, we're going to kind of separate, and it's going to be me over here and you over there. God said, there's no more twain. No more you and I. No. It's we, us. We don't want to deal with the we and us. And that's why toxicity gets in there. Because we still want the benefits of us and we, but we also want the benefits of I when it's convenient for us or convenient for the one person. Toxic behavior. He's saying, therefore, there are no more twain, but one flesh. We are now one. Okay? What therefore, listen, what therefore God hath joined together, let no man put asunder. And everybody, I know he's going to get into the whole divorce thing and everything like that, but I want you to understand that's a manifestation of one of the ways you get separated. But he's not just talking about that, because you got all these different influences that's what? Separating. Girl, you don't got to take that. Boy, you don't have to do that. And they teach what? That separation. Let no man put asunder. Okay? So this is the true function of how it's supposed to be, beloved. Okay? It's dealing with that one flesh. Let's go to Malachi chapter 2. Malachi is the last book in the Old Testament. All right, the last book in the Old Testament. I know people don't usually go to this book often. All right, Malachi chapter 2. And we're going to jump down, brother, to verse 15. Malachi chapter 2, we go to 15, and then we're going to go back up and read it down. All right. So we're going to see this one, because this being one, we don't think about it that much when it comes to marriage. All right. So Malachi chapter 2 and verse 15.
And did not he make one? Yet had he the residue of the spirit, and wherefore one, that he might seek a godly seed. Therefore take heed to your spirit, and that none deal treacherously against the wife of his youth.
We'll get to that. All right. That first part, right? Did he not make what?
One.
See what he's saying? So when you marriage, I ain't seen it separate. I made one. When we came together, that's now y'all just one. Right? And this was a big problem. Definitely, I'll say the men. I'm going to give the men the black eyes right now. All right? But yet the residue of spirit. So he's saying, I made y'all one. And the purpose, listen, yet he had residue of the spirit. and wherefore one, that he might seek a godly seed. So even the point of this marriage, this coming together being one, it's a purpose that the godly seed will come from this. And this is one of the things we're not getting to it today, but even what Paul was talking about dealing with, right? About to sanctify, all that kind of stuff. All right. You see some of the origin even in this verse. Okay. But that he might seek a godly seed. He is seeking for godly seeds. But that is that how we start that marriage is very important when we're dealing with that. Okay. And it says, therefore, take heed to your spirit. All right. You better take heed to your spirit. Because what? And let none deal treacherously against his wife of his youth. All right. So this is handmade for the man. Because when we get upset, those kind of things, we don't take heed to our spirit. And what we do, we will take it out on our wife. Okay. But let's read up and then we're going to walk it down again. All right. Let's go to verse 13. Go up to verse 13.
And this have ye done again, covering the altar of Yahweh with tears, with weeping, and with crying out, insomuch that he regardeth not the offering anymore, or receiveth it with good will at your hand.
Because sometimes we do that. We see what the man is. The man, we go to the altar, we'll cry out and everything, right? Crying out at him. Drooling, slobbering, everything else. And God saying what? I'm not accepting that offering. I'm not accepting that at your hands. Why? Let's keep reading. Verse 14.
Yet ye say, wherefore? Because Yahweh have been witness between thee and the wife of thy youth, against whom thou hast dealt treacherously. Yet is she thy companion and the wife of thy covenant.
You saying, because Yahweh between what? Witness, I'm sorry, has been witness between thee and the wife of thy youth, against whom thou hast dealt treacherously. You think you got a connection with God, you got the Holy Spirit, but you dealing treacherously with your wife. You can offer all you want. And a lot of us faking our praising, worship that, trying to act holy and righteous in front of the congregation. But if you dealing treacherous with your wife, he ain't offering none of that. He ain't hearing none of that. Don't be deceived. People are like, well, I'm gonna still have my connection with God. Man, I'm gonna forget my wife, all this stuff. Oh, no. And this is why Christ come in saying what? You need to get that thing right with your brother. Remember he's talking about your brother getting that right and then offer your gift? It starts with what? You. Your wife. The first ministry. All right. So he's saying, because you dealt treacheries with the wife, and the wife of what? Your covenant. Because God, when you said, I want to be a wife, blah, blah, he joined y'all together. It starts the process of merging together. But if you want to deal treacherous with her, now it's going to impact your relationship with God. And beloved, what is that dealing with? That's toxicity coming in. So I'm telling, I got to start with the men, because men, we know the leaders and stuff like that, no doubt. But you understand the weight of it. You got to make the first sacrifice and cut off and make sure, okay, this is my wife, and cleaving to one another. How you dealing with your wife? If you don't deal with it right, toxicity coming in there. Relationships get real finicky with like people trying to everybody at fault and all these kind of things, right? But you got to dive into these things. Why my woman acting like this? My wife acting like this? She might be acting like that, but if you're not looking with the righteous eyes, you might think, okay, she's at fault. But no, some of us men open the door to this toxic or this sin or whatever you want to call it, right? To get in the house. I'm not blaming her. You open the door for it. She could be a victim of it. But this is why we have to learn what the true ways of the Most High is. Okay? Or are that are? Not sure. Y'all can correct me, teachers. All right. Let's keep going. Verse 15.
Did not he make one? Yet have he the residue of the Spirit. And wherefore one, that he might seek a goodly seed. Therefore take heed to your spirit, and that none deal treacherously against the wife of his youth.
All right,
But
that's why he's saying, and this is very important. That's why I made one. Because you think I'm going to deal treacherous with it. No, y'all won. It's like you
Right.
deal treacherous with yourself. It says no man hated his own flesh, right? But you think you can treat her and it don't impact you. You don't see in your mind, you already separated. You can see you already did the in your mind because how you're treating her. All right. So much we talk about the command stuff, this is part of it. Okay. Let's keep going. Verse 16.
For Yahweh, the God of Israel, saith that he hateth putting away. For one cover of violence with his garment, saith Yahweh of hosts. Therefore, take heed to your spirit, that ye deal not treacherously.
We got something with that, right? Because I'm getting on the men right now. We men can justify a lot of things, right? But you see the scripture saying you better take heed. You know, we try to come up violent with a guard. All right. So he does not desire that. So when you push it for that, I want to get rid, and you try to find all these ways to get rid of her, you ain't of the spirit of your that ain't the spirit of God working. It's the spirit of yourself. All right. So it's been much. If we getting that feeling, we have to check in and really call to the Most High God. All right, because certain things and thoughts come in your head, beloved. You need to fight it when you know it's not of God. All right. As soon as you realize it's not of God, all right, purge it out. Purge that toxicity out. Okay. And we'll get to some of that later on. Let's go to 2 Timothy chapter 3. All right. 2 Timothy chapter 3. Second Timothy chapter 3. And we are going to go to verse 2. No, we're going to start right at verse 1. 2 Timothy chapter 3. And we're going to start at verse 1.
This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come.
So the last times, we're in these last times. Let's keep reading.
For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy.
Listen, I want you sisters to listen to this because this stuff. Everybody look at the men, and it is the men dealing with. But sisters, you need to do this because this message is for you to understand. All right, start at verse 2 again. Listen to all these attributes.
For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good.
Let me stop there for a little bit, right? And I wish we had time to really break all this stuff down, but we're not gonna go through everything, right? But he's saying this was gonna happen in the last days. This is gonna be very prevalent. This kind of spirit is gonna be overtaking. All right, the men. They're gonna be loving their own selves, right? Selfish, coveting, always want something else, boasters, proud, blaspheming, disobedient to parents. Right? You see them just disrespect their parents. That's a sign. The scripture's letting you know. I know him and his mom got a bad relationship. He calls her a B and all that kind of stuff. But you know, he loves me though. He probably loved her at one point too. You need to look at that thing. All right? Disobedient to parents, unthankful. You know, people just ain't thankful. Because if he ain't unthankful in this, he probably not gonna be unthankful with you as well. Stop thinking you're the exception to this. I know he's showing these bad things, but I'm going to get the good of them. I'm going to be. He's telling you this is what it's going to be. I'm going to show the message at the end. All right. Unthankful, unholy, right? Without natural affections, the natural things, natural affections he don't have. And if it's like, well, you know, he got things he got to work through and all that kind of stuff, well, let him finish that first. Because if you going through your battle, adding a partner does not just make that better. He needs to work that out before you make that commitment. Okay? Because what? Once he's that husband, he's in that leadership role. And you don't want to be leading behind a foolish guide. I'll put it that way. All right? So you want to be mindful of that. Okay? Truce breakers, false accusers. All right? You be lying, all that kind of stuff. And despiser of those that are good. He ain't going to deal with certain people. He's a good dude, but he don't want to go to church. He don't want to be, because he got all. See, you need to be paying attention to that. Okay. Let's keep going though. Verse 4.
Traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of God.
They worrying about this, the satisfaction of everything else, but they ain't worrying about loving God. High-minded, right? But can't do nothing with it. When they high-minded, they become their own God, all that kind of stuff. All right. You need to be looking out for these kind of qualities. All right. Read.
Having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof, from such turn away.
I want you. Let's read that again. Let's read that slowly again.
Having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof, from such turn away.
So there are some. Well, like I got my man from church. So I was doing good. Ain't like I got somebody from. I got somebody from church. They can be in the church, but not in the church, beloved. Be honest with you, right? Having a form of godliness, right? They might have the outfit looking good, looking holy, got the Bible in their hand, might be sweet to the congregation. Oh, hey, how you doing? Shalom, I'm doing all these things, being helpful. They can have a form of godliness, but what? Denying the power thereof, denying the authority, denying the subjection to God and his laws and commandments. So yes, you can find a man in the church, but there's a difference. All right? So you have to be mindful. Just because they're in church, you still got to try them. And I always say, you need to get to see what people in the congregation feel about them sometimes, because sometimes they know certain things. Okay? But this person have a form of godliness. They might even have a title in some churches, right? Having a form of godliness, but what? Denying the power thereof. Okay? From this kind of person, you should marry him and change him. Is that what it says after that, Brother Kai?
Nope.
What's the instruction? How many instructions to give?
From such turn away.
Ain't even nothing to think about.
Nope.
He said, and this is not just from this line, beloved. All these. He said, when you see this, you can turn away. Don't try to entertain it. Don't try to get your mind to try to make. Turn away.
Nope.
Okay. Now, can people change all that? Yes, but you need to wait till the change happen, because you don't want to make a commitment to somebody that's thinking about changing all that kind. All right. This thing is a covenant thing. So we look at that. Having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof, from such turn away. Okay. So, beloved, sometimes the toxicity happens right from the jump. Just because we're marrying toxic behavior. See, he becomes you, right? They become one flesh. So if he got all this toxicity, right? A lot of times you married it, what you think you're gonna have? You ain't gonna sleep with the devil and think it's gonna be a great union. No. Okay. So, beloved, depending on where you at, beloved. If you're not in a relationship, you look for marriage. This is something you need to be mindful of. All right. Some of us gotten already in the situations, and we're gonna try to rectify it. There's things for that as well. All right. But we had to start starting off the right way, beloved. A lot of times we start off wrong and want the right thing to happen. All right. We need to start the right way. All right. So understand that. I was going to stop there, but verse 6 is very important. Listen what kind of people these guys are going to target and take advantage of.
Yep. For of this sort are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women laden with sins, led away with divers lust.
That's what they doing, right? They creeping in them houses. All right. Some of them got titles creeping in there. And lead who? Captive silly women. We don't want to be referred to as silly women, sisters, right? But a lot of us, what? We'll see this stuff and say, well, we're going to change them. Yep. The last 4 or 5 that he went was thinking they could change him too. But you silly thinking you are so good and so special that you're going to change him.
Their pride.
If God can't change him, you don't have a chance. But you're saying, I can do something that Most High God can't do. No, I just believe in everybody. Yeah, you can believe in change. Wait till the change happens. Then we got the conversation. But until then, off limits. Care who the brother is. I don't care if it's my brother. right? Off limits. It's not even something you should put in your mind to try to make it work. All right. So you worried about can he take care? Well, he got the job, he got the look and all that stuff. You better make sure of this. Because if he got this, it's going to be toxic. Some of you just going to have a nice looking toxic man. All right. High paying toxic man. So we're going to take accountability. Both sides got to take some accountability. Same thing with the brothers. All right. Let's move off from this one. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 30. Isaiah chapter 30. And this is learning, beloved, right? It said a lot of us never got it. Sometimes we don't even want to talk and deal with these things. It's sensitive, right? But this is for learning. Most of us fell short in this category. Ain't nothing to be ashamed of, but we don't want to continue to do wrong. All right. We want to do better now. Show the Most High that we have learned from our mistakes. Isaiah chapter 30, and let's go to verse 1. Isaiah chapter 30, and we're just doing verse 1.
Woe to the rebellious children, saith Yahweh, that take counsel, but not of me, that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin.
All right. Rebellious children. What make you a rebellious child? That take counsel. They take advice. They're getting this learning, but it's what? Not of me. I know there's a lot of stuff. Definitely in this day and age, we can get access to a lot of information. All right. But you taking counsel that's not of me, what are you introducing, beloved? The toxicity. All right. I just want you to know because it's not ignorance no more. Taking the risk is toxic. Well, I know it said this, but I'm gonna take. I mean, that's the toxic already showing that's already in you. All right. So saith the Lord that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering. You think you're good, you think you're protected, but it's not of my spirit. Some of us lean to a lot of things for our covering and for our protection. I'm not gonna think, oh, the money will protect me. Oh, my good looks, that's gonna protect me. Oh, this is gonna protect me. But he's saying, if you don't have that covering, if I'm not your covering, all right, all you're going to do, listen, add sin to sin. All right, it's a progressive thing. Right? When poison get into something, they don't say, oh, well, I just got out. No, it's usually going to what? Try to poison the whole substance, whatever it's part of. That's what the sin, that's what it does. That toxic stuff is going to try to leach and just keep growing, keep growing. All right, until it has destroyed. All right, that's the power sin. That's what sin does. Okay, but this, once again, the rebellious children, the one that did not listen to how the Most High set this thing up. All right, this was going to happen. So this is what we're saying with everything. And like I said, we're gonna hear a lot of things. We're gonna see a lot of things. You know, TV shows, it's all over the place. Some of this toxic behavior. All right, beloved, that's not where you're learning things from. All right, even when you see it, you should be able to compare it to that ain't the scripture. No, that's man, right? You need to have that kind of understanding. All right, and if you don't have that kind of understanding to be able to judge matters like that, you need to kind of alleviate from that and get more of what your basis and foundation sure. Okay. All right. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 16. All right. Once again, with this, all you're doing is going to add sin to sin. All right. Proverbs 16. I know I got you all over the place today. All right. We're just going to get one verse from here. All right. Psalms, Proverbs. All right. Psalms, then Proverbs. All right. Proverbs 16, and we're just going to read verse 2. Proverbs 16, and we're going to read verse 2.
All the ways of a man are clean in his own eyes, but Yahweh weigheth the spirits.
This is why he warning you even in that Second Timothy for this kind of reason. All right. And this is for both sexes. It's man, but it's building mankind, right? People always thinking they're clean their own eyes. We always justify what we do wrong, right? But guess what? The Lord gonna weigh the spirit. Tension behind everything we do. You ask a brother, he gonna tell you why he justified for treating his wife so harsh and treacherously. But the Most High say that's gonna make you all right or good. Mm-mm. Sister going by justify why she doing this and acting like this. But did the Most High approve of that and say that's okay? This is why it's gonna hit all of us.
Mhm.
All right. And this is where the toxic stuff come in, because once you see it, look at those calculations. Everybody justify why they're doing these behaviors that's not of God. What justification do we really have? Okay. So once again, understand this. All right. Sometimes we got to, sometimes we want to be right so much that we're not even doing what's righteous. Because sometimes, beloved, you might be doing some things right. And you got to prove so much of a point sometimes that you're right that you're willing to damage the other individual. So it's like, do you want to be right or righteous? All right. Sometimes you're going to be at different levels than somebody, but sometimes when you're at a high level, sometimes you got to, be patient with the other person. Okay. So this goes in a lot of avenues, but the first part I wanted to establish that, beloved, the thing is we got to be one. Anything that is getting in there relationship to separate us, that's toxicity. Just so we can identify. Either you're getting closer to your partner and becoming one, they shall be one. This is what God's doing. He's pushing it so it shall be one. Everything that's keeping it and trying to separate it, that's the toxic stuff. That's the stuff we got to purge out and analyze. All right. And that's usually coming from within. All right. One of the two people. Okay. It's not an outside thing that usually impacts, it's the inside thing. But if you allow an outside influences, of course, that would impact. All right. All right. Let's go to some other stuff. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 5, since we're here. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 5. Proverbs chapter 5, and let's go down to verse 18. All right. Proverbs chapter 5 and verse 18.
Let
And
thy fountain,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
let thy fountain be blessed, and rejoice with the wife of thy youth.
We look right over that sometimes.
That's right.
You're supposed to what? Rejoice with the wife of thy youth.
That's right.
Sometimes we don't think that. I know I had a big problem with that. It's about serving God. You know what I mean? You just got to serve God, right? Beloved, this is part of serving God. This is part of keeping the commandments. Rejoice with your wife, right? Even your children. Like sometimes, man, I'm so busy, I'm just doing this. I'm like, no, I'm supposed to enjoy my children. Enjoy your wife, right? Because what does rejoicing with somebody do, beloved? What does it usually do? It'll connect people, right? You laughing together, that's a what? It's a form of connecting with somebody. So with your wife, yes, you need to connect. Laugh with them, cry with them. All those things is bringing us to what? Be one. So he's telling rejoice with the wife of the youth. And he's coming to the men because this is about our issue. You see how I'm saying the husband of the youth, right? You hate the woman. The women usually go with that. I love all this stuff. It's the men. Sometimes we got to get to that. Right? So we are obligated to rejoice with the wife of the youth. Make time. Even at any time, make time. Okay? So rejoice with the wife of the youth, verse 19.
Let her be as the loving hind and pleasant roe. Let her breast satisfy thee at all times, and be thou ravished always with her love.
And we should know what that means, right? Be affectionate, be loving.
That's right.
That's part of the marriage. He wanted to feel good so you can what? You can be connected. There's a connection with that. All right? That's making you one. And it's what? All these things is the Most High put in plan. All right? So you loving her and all those kind of things, you can get what? That satisfaction. You can feel full. I'm good. I highly got my wife. I'm good. All right? That's why they say don't be thirsty, because what? That thirst, I'm desiring all this other stuff. But you're supposed to be filled with what? Your wife. That should be your best friend. That should be, you be supposed to have that kind of confidence in. And I didn't get to this other part. I told you so many sections I wanted to do, right? But a lot of times trust is a very important part. All right? But we can take that another time. Let's keep going though. Verse 20.
And why wilt thou, my son, be ravished with a strange woman, and embrace the bosom of a stranger.
So you're asking, son, what are you doing? Why are you desiring these strange women? Why are you embracing the bosom of strange these other women? When you what? Why are you saying that? You got a wife and you should be ravishing with her. Why you need to mess with all this? Why is this strong? Brother Kai, what book we in?
Proverbs.
Who writes Proverbs? Solomon, the one that was ravishing with a lot of strange women. But you see, that's why I said he had a little conversion, he went off a little bit, but he had a little repentance period, right? And you seeing it, understanding it. All right? Verse 21.
God. For the ways of a man are before the eyes of Yahweh, and he pondereth all his goings.
Mm-hmm. You look at all that.
That's right.
We can make all these excuses, right? We can think we clean our own eyes, make all these excuses, but the Most High looking at it and pondering all that, right? Some of us have wonderful, beautiful wives at home, but we so focused on everything else, right? And that's what? That's bringing toxicity into the home. Now she ain't feeling love because what? We distract over here, put energy over here when she's desiring in that, right? So like I said, a lot of that stuff comes from us and us bringing that in the home, okay? All right, let's go to Sirach. I don't mean it for being so gloomy, this teaching, but, you know, with toxicity, you kind of have to get to some of those, you know, uncomfortable things, beloved. And just as you can apply this stuff, but you know, whether you ask for, you know, lesson, you know, but a lot of times we got to understand that no, the men we got to make sure it starts with us, right? So we have to take a lot of accountability when it comes to this, right? So 25, all right, because I want us to establish and understand the Most High does it, right? He said he looked at everything. He said what? It was good. Most High does stuff for it. It's supposed to be good. Even this marriage, even though we see a lot of stuff, a lot of crap, a lot of relationship fail, this thing is a beautiful thing. We need to restore the beauty of marriage, okay? Verse 1, this is Ecclesiasticus or Sirach, all right, the Apocrypha, all right? You don't have it, I'll put it on the screen, all right? So Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach 25, and give me verse 1. Read that slow for us, Brother Kai.
And three things I was beautified, and stood up beautiful both before God and men. The unity of brethren, the love of neighbors, a man and a wife that agree together.
See the power of that? Three things I was beautified. This ain't just beautiful to God, but also to men, right? When you see the unity of brethren, we got the Psalms 133 that talks about that, right? Precious for brethren to come together. When you see a bunch of brothers, they come and talk and they laugh, like, that's a beautiful sight. People, you'll see other brothers outside, like, man, I want to be a part of that. It's a beautiful thing, right? That's one. The love of neighbors, right? People getting along, people you call, all that kind of stuff. It's a beautiful thing. The Most High approves of it, and men. And then this one, a man and a wife. Not just a man, not just a person that's married, because some people are married per se, but they ain't married, right? A man and a wife that what? Agree together. That's the important part. They agree together. They walking together, right? Because a lot of times you're seeing that what? Well, I'm moving to here and this person's going that way. And you'll hear that jobs all the time. They're talking about how bad the wife is and this and that, and they annoying, and I want to do, right? All that kind of crap. That ain't what it's talking about. But it's like, oh man, you talk about your wife, man, she sound great. He's supposed to be looking like, man, I want that marriage. I desire that. That's what they're supposed to be looking at. I want that. Your wife don't get you a hard time when you do this, and you don't be worrying about and checking after your wife and making sure she. Nah. And we walking together. All right. That is what the point is about. All right. And this happens when what? Both parties got to submit. Okay. So this is the goal, that we walk together. We agree together. Man and woman doing that is such a beautiful thing. And people, the younger generation, they'll see that and they'll desire that. Man, I want that. Oh, people, they see that still, all this garbage going around, they see them like, man, I want that. But it's that companionship. I'm talking about, you can tell, like, man, they love each other. They ain't just dealing with each other, right? They love each other. Like, I want, and they desire that. And some of us desire that. We've seen that. Like, man, I want to get married. I can't wait to have somebody we can walk with like that. All right. So that's a beautiful, beautiful thing, beloved. All right. Let's go to Amos chapter 3. This is more familiar. Matter of fact, we're going to come back to Ecclesiastes. So we use this one. All right. Amos chapter 3. All right. Yeah, we're good. All right. Amos chapter 3. And I just want to get to one part. All right. Amos chapter 3 and verse 3. Amos chapter 3 and verse 3.
Can two walk together except they be agreed?
No. All right.
Oh.
Rhetorical question. All right. Answer is no. Not going to walk together unless they be agreed. All right. And a lot of times, this is why it's hard when somebody is healthy in a relationship and the other person is not healthy. Because sometimes the person saying, well, I feel like I have to, you'll hear people saying, well, my husband going off, they doing this and that, but I'm trying to keep the peace and I'm going to go off with them, right? See, I'm walking, I'm agreeing, but it's in the wrong aspect, right? So, beloved, this is why it's so important when you're thinking about marriage, you're investing into yourself. All right. When I work and I talk, I do the counseling stuff. I talk to them and I tell the guys, sometimes it's like, you have to be mindful of who you're going and investing with. All right. You can see if you're compatible with the other individual. Just because they go to church and they believe the same doctrine don't mean y'all compatible. No, a lot of time church is like, oh, you got the Holy Ghost, you got the Holy Ghost. Oh, just come together and God will just make it fit. I get saying, but beloved, make sure you're compatible. All right. Make sure you compare one another. I always, look at it as business, right? When two businesses trying to see if they're going to, come together, they come to the table and see, all right, will I benefit from merging with you? And the other person say, will I benefit from merging with you? And if both parties feel like they will have a greater benefit being together, that they'll enter into what? A marriage. Right? A lot of times you can have two healthy businesses, but they don't always mesh together. Home Depot's a good business. McDonald's a great business, but they might not merge and be good because they're not compatible with one another. But individually, they're great. And sometimes that happens. So even with the spiritual aspect, you do have to have that in common because that's going to always be that line that you go, that true line, right? But also, beloved, definitely you choosing, want to see if they're compatible with you. Because a lot of times you get irritated because people not compatible, right? They grew up, they have a way of how they do things. They want to keep that way. You have a way that you want to do, and you keep that way. And then what happens? It's going to clash, right? So understanding and seeing you compatible with can help greatly. Okay. Still can be things you're going to still have to, there's no way to avoid that. Still going to be some growing pains, beloved. All right. But sometimes you can alleviate some that maybe you're not willing to deal with. All right. So let's keep going. Let's go back to Sirach chapter 26 or Ecclesiastes. All right. Let's go back to chapter 26. And this is a merger of two. It gives you toxic stuff and righteous stuff. All right. All right, let's go there. Let's go down to verse 22. Verse 22. All right. This is getting a little bit of the women side with it. All right. Don't want to leave y'all out. Thank you. Guys, y'all over there, y'all put your ice packs on. All right. Y'all go do a little healing. But let's go to this part. Okay. Ecclesiastes chapter 26, and we're going to go down to verse 22. Verse 22.
And harlot shall be accounted as spittle, but a married woman is a tower against death to her husband.
A harlot is accounted as spittle. It's almost like spit. You don't worry about spit, right? But a married woman is a tower against death to her husband. This is how we need to look at our wives, and also wives need to understand this, right? You got that woman, and I mean, I know people go try to go to the Eve thing, right? But however, right, when you look at it, that's what she is. There's some things we are going to do that'll probably be detrimental to us. That's why the wife is there too. She can see certain things, certain angles, and sometimes she's doing what? That's preventing us from death. Right? That's the authority that the Most High put on the women, on the wives, to help their husband. Absolutely. All right? So she is a tower against death to her husband. All right? Verse 23.
A wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man, but a godly woman is given to him that feareth the Lord.
That's strong, right? Wicked woman is a portion to a wicked man. All right. Sometimes, beloved, that's why I say some of us brothers, we looking at the wrong things. I always say in the group, like, sometimes you get caught up in looking at certain assets. All right. That's just for your lust, but you ain't really desiring her. Guess what? You won't get exactly what you want. But if we are doing what we're supposed to be doing and learning the way we're supposed to be learning, there's supposed to be a certain distaste we should have for wickedness, definitely women that's in wickedness, and a certain attraction we have for women that's what? Being righteous and holy. All right. So a godly woman is given to him that feareth the Lord. Because you're gonna be looking at what? The righteousness. We're looking at you look at the fruits of that woman. All right. It's just not what she looked like in certain outfits and things like that. Okay. Let's keep going. Verse 24.
A dishonest woman contemneth shame, but an honest woman will reverence her husband.
Think about that, beloved. Look what kind of woman reverence her husband. What? An honest woman will reverence her husband. That's the point. Sisters, you want to be with somebody that you can be proud of, right? That's my husband. It's supposed to be a joyous thing. That's my husband. That's my baby. Look at him, right? Same thing with the brothers. You look at it, that's my wife. When they talking about, when you hear people talking good about your wife, it brings you, makes you feel good. You feel, yeah, that's right. That's all mine, right? So you feel good about yourself. Sisters, when they talk about, oh, your husband, he's great, that should make you feel, yep, that's my baby. That's all me. Right? This is how the marriage is supposed to feel. And I'm not, right, for time's sake, I'm not going to go to Proverbs 31. But when you look at that, beloved, that righteous woman, matter of fact, we'll touch on it a little bit because we can probably go to it. All right. But let's keep going. Let's keep going. 25.
A shameless woman shall be counted as a dog, but she that is shamefaced will fear the Lord.
You want to be shameless acting like that? That's what you can act like. You act like a dog. All right. So we want to make sure we're not doing that by fearing the Lord. Okay. Let's read.
A woman that honoreth her husband shall be judged wise of all, but she that dishonoreth him in her pride shall be counted ungodly of all.
Can't help that. All right. A woman that honors her husband shall be judged what? Wise of all. Not just with man, because some people focus on man, no, but God's going to judge her wise of all. You see how he's connecting that this is part of the walk, beloved? People think I'm righteous, but I'm going to this. No, this is part of it. All right. So she's supposed to be, wife's supposed to be honoring her husband. If it feels like a bad thing to honor your husband, don't you see that's already a big problem?
Right.
My brother can't feel like he can't honor his wife. Don't we see that's kind of a big problem? Toxicity already in there. That's what don't want to make you honor one another. Is the toxicity in there? I don't want to honor him, but I want. That's all an issue. That's not supposed to be there. Okay. All right. Let's go to. Do I want to go with the wise? Let me see if I want to do it. Yeah, real quick. Let's go to Proverbs 31. We are not reading through the whole thing. Let's just grab some parts real quick. Proverbs 31. All right, go down to verse 10, 31 and verse 10.
Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies.
Guess what? The world ain't gonna see it like that. A righteous man should know your worth. The world won't always grab your worth. All right, and that's fine. You don't need to get the approval of their worth. All right, but a righteous woman, her price is far above rubies. Read.
The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil.
So he has faith in her. He trusts her. His heart is to her. He is dedicated to her. That what? He shall have no need of spoil. sometimes, and this is a toxic thing too, sometimes that taking try to creep in there and everything because what? Heart don't safely trust in your partner, in your wife. And sometimes you feel like you have need of what? Other things. All right? But that should not be so. You need to find that one that your heart safely trusts in. Okay? Let's keep going. Verse 12.
She will do him good and not evil all the days of his life,
Well,
of her
every
life.
day. This is not a thing. Well, sometimes no, we supposed to be striving that every day you're doing good.
Yeah.
I know it's dealing with women, but men as well. We be striving every day. We got so, like I said, we got so many excuses, but it says what? A man think he's clean in all his ways. All we got excuse why you can't do. No, there's no excuse. Can't say we in the spirit one day. Not no. So all the days of our life, we should be what? Not doing evil to one another. All right, let's keep going.
She seeketh wood and flax, and worketh willingly with her
She
hands.
ain't lazy. She finding stuff to do. Read.
She is like the merchant ships. She bringeth her food from afar.
All right. Matter of fact, let's skip some of this. I don't want to go through everything with it. No, because I'm gonna go too far off. All right, let's stop with that. All right, but y'all know this, chapter, but read it, take your time and really analyze what it's about. All right, so this is probably one of the clearest things to really see. All right, what standard am I trying to get to? This is the standard. All right, and you can do a check off list. Am I doing these things? All right, and it's a good measuring tool. All right, but let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's go to Psalms 34. All right, Psalms 34. Let's deal with it because a lot of times we get into toxicity, right? Now we already chose a person is already, pretty bad and stuff like that. I need to do I just drop them off now? Or no, there's some times where you can salvage it. The Most High sometimes has mercy and you can salvage. Okay. So 34, and let's go to verse 12. All right, Psalms 34 and verse 12.
What man is he that desireth life, and loveth many days, that he may see good? Keep
Mhm.
thy tongue from evil, and thy lips from speaking guile.
You want to desire life, you want the good life, you want days to be lovely, you want to see goodness and all that stuff. Watch your tongue. Watch your words. Beloved, think about all the stuff that happens. Think about the toxicity in relationships. Where do 99% of it's coming from? Somebody saying something, right? All right, so we have to be mindful of that. Read.
Depart from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it.
This is seems simple, but it's very important. We got to make a decision. You want the toxicity to get out of it? You got to stop doing evil and do good. Stop making excuses, do good. Seek peace. It gets so bad sometimes that we're not even trying to seek peace. We're trying to find another weapon, right? We're trying to, okay, we gotta win this argument. We gotta win this thing. Not realizing, don't you understand you fight against yourself when you're married?
Mm-hmm.
But you're looking at it as war now. Oh, he did this, now I gotta make this point to do this to show him that he's not as good. And right? Wife tell me how I come short. What's the first thing my flesh would do? I gotta say something how she came short. You talk about me, but what about this? That's not seeking peace. That's not pursuing it. That's going to seek strife. That's going to seek debate. Okay. So first thing we need to what? Seek peace and pursue it. Okay. Let's go to Sirach. Sorry, I gotta keep going y'all through the Apocrypha. All right. Let's go back to Ecclesiasticus. All right. So Ecclesiasticus are also known as Sirach, and this is going to be chapter 28. All right. We got a couple verses in this chapter. All right. Ecclesiasticus or Sirach, and this is chapter 28. Chapter 28. Brother, I want you to start at verse 1. All right. Ecclesiasticus or Sirach, chapter 28, and we're going to start at verse 1, beloved.
He that revengeth shall find vengeance from the Lord, and he will surely keep his sins in remembrance.
All right, beloved. Don't be seeking to get revenge. Don't be seeking to get even. All right. in general, but definitely in marriage, beloved, we shouldn't be seeking the vengeance. We shouldn't be seeking, well, my husband hurt me, so I'm going to figure out a way to hurt him. All right? She hurt me, so I'm going to seek a way to hurt her. That's toxic behavior. That's not healthy behavior. All right? Not other people of God. We shouldn't be doing that. Verse 2.
Forgive thy neighbor the hurt that he hath done unto thee, so shall thy sins also be forgiven when thou prayest.
You got to forgive. Right? We should know this, but it's very important. And yes, they hurt you. They're not denying. Listen, forgive thy neighbor the hurt that he have done. This ain't no guessing and everything. No, some people are going to hurt you. They're going to do bad to you. Sometimes you have those seasons when the devil's using you, you're doing things, whether you're doing things that's hurtful. And it goes for both parties. You got to forgive. Some people have ruined every relationship since their first toxic relationship because they never forgave. Okay? Now, when I'm saying forgive, that don't mean you stay with that person. Absolutely not. Okay? But I'm saying they will grab that hurt there and apply it everywhere else. Well, the last time I loved somebody, this happened. So I'm going to make sure I don't love it. That's the stuff that you're bringing in. That's not how we enter into a marriage. All right? So like I said, we want to enter into it right. If you are still dealing with hurt, you need to process that hurt. You need to fully heal before you add marriage to it. Marriage don't clean it up. Everybody thinks it's a quick fix. Well, I'm going to get married and then I'm going to clean everything up. No. You're going to say, I do. It ain't going to be no big old change. Oh, I said I do. I'm officially married. Now everything's working. No. Okay? A lot of times it's going to intensify it. Just like you having problems, they add a kid, you think a kid goes and fix it. You see how many sisters got kids? Does it fix it? No, it don't always fix it. I'll get the kid now, he loves me. That don't fix it. All right? So be careful. But so if you need healing, because Israel need healing. You've been through a lot. Sometimes our upbringing's been a problem. We've been in this captivity. There's a lot of hurt. Brothers need to understand there's a lot of sisters hurting. You don't need to be another source of her being oppressed. She's already hated by the world. Now she got to come home and a husband is going to put more oppression on her. Same thing. Sisters realize the men going through the same kind of struggle. All right? What's going to help? Are we going to talk about who's struggling more and all this kind of stuff and just be more frustrated with one another? Or are we going to love each other, understand, you're going through something, I'm going through something. But guess what? Loving one another is going to heal it. That's what's going to what? Bring us closer together. Okay? So these are little things that the Bible's talking about to restore and heal some of this toxic stuff that's been on us. Because you can purge the toxicity out. All right? God is able to purge it out. So shall thy sins, listen, so shall thy sins also be forgiven when thou prayest. We are blocking our own prayers. We think we're getting the toxicity out. We can't, because the one that can purify us, we have now a blockade, right? Our prayers is not going through. Lord, why ain't you hearing this? Don't you see this? He's like, listen, you didn't forgive, so I can't move now. You preventing me from getting into the situation. So we get mad. Sometimes we get mad at God. Then we go to another situation. It's like the same thing because we didn't heal. All right. So forgiveness is for you. That is a true statement. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Verse 3.
One man beareth hatred against another, and doth he seek pardon from the Lord?
You hate him. I'm hating my wife now. I'm not showing love, compassion. I'm treating her like an enemy. I'm treating her like she ain't on my team. Do I think I'm going to get pardoned from the Lord? I think the Lord's going to forgive me? Nope. Same thing. Because soon we don't get our way. What happened? We act like pouty children. All right? But we don't understand that now. We messing up our relationship with the Most High. Now we can't get certain blessings and things we want because of this. Running around trying to figure out what the reason was. Why did God forsake what's happening? And sometimes because what? We still bearing that hatred. And he says what? He don't go in a malicious soul. He can't enter it when you got all that hatred because that's not of him. You got to purge that out. Hatred is toxic. You got to purge that out. Then it gives room for the spirit to overcome and get in you. All right? Let's keep going.
He showeth no mercy to a man which is like himself, and doth he ask forgiveness of his own sins?
You can't forgive somebody else, but then you want forgiveness. Say that makes sense to you? All right. This, like I said, this is bigger than marriage as well. But the first thing you need to realize, if you are married, that's one of the big things. You can't forgive them, but then you want forgiveness. All right. Let's keep going.
If he that is but flesh nourish hatred, who will entreat for pardon of his sins?
This person got hatred in their heart. Who's going to pardon their sins? And this is why it's so strong, beloved, the power with one another, but definitely in a marriage. If my wife, if I truly think the devil's in her, do I think I'm going to purge that devil out by being mean to her in that state? Or I got the power, if I'm doing what's right in me subject, I got the power to pray on her behalf to get the pardon. The same thing, vice versa. Sisters, this is why it's good investment to have a righteous woman, because if we acting like a jackbutt, which a lot of us men do, go off, we're stubborn with certain things. Sometimes they make excuses. The devil has entered in. Sisters, with your chaste behavior, your righteous behavior, you can be praying on our behalf to get that thing off. Instead of saying throw the whole man away, throw the whole husband away, right? Lord, have mercy. I know he's a good man. I love him. Can you restore? That's the kind of power that we possess, that we don't use. Satan got us so glorified in this toxic behavior that we're killing ourselves, literally, and cutting ourselves off from what? The kingdom of God. Read that verse 6. We want to keep moving.
Remember thy end, and that enmity cease. Remember corruption and death, and abide in the commandments.
All right. Remember the end. Sometimes we acting like we don't know what the end is. We know there's a judgment coming. And we doing this behavior knowing we ain't supposed to be doing it. And well, I'm just going to do what I want. I'm grown. I can do what I want. You are absolutely right. But remember, there's an end. And this is a couple of spots that talk about that. All right. But remember the judgment. Remember the end. And let enmity cease. So you better remember that judgment at the end, and you need to cut it out. I know you think it's a big deal, but it ain't worth you getting eternal judgment. So cut it out. I just can't cut it out. Remember, you want to stop this? It's so hard. Remember corruption and death. Remember the state you're going to be in if you are on the wrong side of this. And abide in the commandments. Do what the commandment says. All right? So when we get married, there's a law of commandments that come with the marriage. We got to do that. All right? Matter of fact, no, read verse 7. I'm sorry, read verse 7. Then we can go.
Remember the commandments and bear no malice to thy neighbor. Remember the covenant of the highest and wink at ignorance.
All right. So this is what we want to wink at ignorance, meaning we need to be forgiveness. All right. Remember the covenant of the highest. Remember, he's going to forgive us as we forgive others. So if it's so hard that we can't forgive others, right? It's going to look at the same way. Okay. We are humans. We have our certain things that trigger us and things of that nature. I understand that. Okay. But that is not going to be an excuse at the end. Maybe some of us might think it ain't going to be no excuse. Well, Lord, it really, really ticked me off. Guess what ticked me off? Christ's gonna be like, you know what ticked me off? Me have to go through all this, and I ain't do nothing. So what are you going to tell him that's saying I suffer strictly because of y'all? And we gonna talk about, well, it wasn't comfortable. Well, it was hard. All these kind of things. And Christ's gonna be like, tell me how hard it was for you. All right, but let's go. Let's see. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 10. 1 Corinthians chapter 10. Believe me, I'm all in this. I had excuses. I had justifications. I had scriptures to justify why I could do this and this and that. All right. But with the word of God comes, oh, it cuts you. All right. First
Mm.
Corinthians chapter 10. All right. Let's do 12 to 13. Let's do 12 first.
Neither murmur ye, as some of them also murmured, and were destroyed of the destroyer.
Where you at? I'm sorry, 10 and verse 12. Verse 12. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, you good.
Wherefore, that him that thinketh he stand, take heed lest he fall.
I love that. You that think you're doing right, you think, take heed now. Consider, least ye fall. And that's where that high-minded sometimes go with. Thinking, well, I'm serving God. She not, so she going hell, and I'm going to be good. Nah, that ain't how you supposed to look at it. Because you won. Right? Verse 13. Listen to this.
There have no temptation taken you but such as is common to man. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are tempted, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it.
So there's no temptation. There's nothing we can go through. This hits me right stuff. And nothing you can go through that somebody else did not overcome. That's why I said the excuse is going to be real short. Think about things we complain about. There'll be somebody writing the scriptures. Yeah, I had that same thing, but I did what's right. That's why I said we can't live in the excuse world, beloved. All right. There is no temptation taking you but such as common to man. Man, nobody ever been through what I've been through. Yes, there is. Probably thousands that have been through what you went through. But God is faithful. Listen, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able. So if you're saying, man, I'm going through this and it's just me, nobody else, and there's nobody that can go through this. We're saying this because we feel like we're the only one, we're the exception, and nobody else can go through it. And this can justify us for reacting this way because the other people didn't go through it. The scripture saying somebody went through it. And that God is not tempting you above which you're able. So now you got to blame God to say, God, you put something on me that I couldn't bear. All right. But beloved, if you step out of the way of God, if you start doing your own thing and everything, then yes, you are making it unbearable. But he's saying with me, with God, he said, I made a way. All right. There's always a way to do what's right. But listen, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it. All right. So in any situation, no matter how bad, toxic, there is a way to escape. There's a way to be blameless. Right? Sometimes our flesh get in the way and our flesh get offended and we feel like we have to do it. But sometimes the blameless is walking away. I'm not entertaining. I'm not doing this, right? But we don't have an excuse. And the Most High already made a way. And that's reassuring. It might seem like a bad, beloved, it's reassuring. What I'm going through, I got to focus on now when situations happen. What's the way I can get out of it? What's the way I can be blameless in the situation? Because God made a way. Now you can put your focus on that instead of what that person is doing. Because the devil can be using them. But how can I escape this devil where I'm still blameless? Okay? So the Most High has provided that for us. While we're in Corinthians, let's go. All right, let me give you 3 more spots, and that's it. I'm not going to all the spots. 1 Corinthians chapter 7. 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 3. See something real quick. Chapter 7 and verse 3. Sorry.
Let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence, Salakia, and likewise also the wife unto the husband.
Very simple, very overlooked. And I say definitely guilty of this. Like I'll come, oh, you all right? You know what I mean? You at work, you doing this stuff. Oh, you're so nice, Oh, yeah, no problem, blah, blah, blah. But my wife, I don't give her that reverence. Compliment all these other things, but I ain't compliment my wife. And our wives see that, right? We'll compliment, somebody will come and tell us, oh my God, that outfit looks so beautiful, all that stuff. Your wife's in there like, dang, he don't even say I look beautiful. Right? So we want to make sure we are giving that. It don't matter if you're comfortable with it. I'm like, well, I ain't grow up like that. I ain't see all that, mushy stuff like that. You know what I mean? You just got to know you're beautiful. She should just know that. I said, all that justification you trying to do just to avoid a simple thing like that. Don't matter if you're not comfortable. Don't matter if you don't do it. This is the little things, beloved. All right. These are the things that can pure out that toxicity, because sometimes you're not feeling good. And telling your wife she's beautiful or you appreciate what she's doing, it could give her that boost of energy. I appreciate you cooking for me, babe. I really appreciate that. Right? Small things. But it can make a big difference, because sometimes she's going through crap and she got to deal with everybody not appreciating, doing all these kind of things. At home, she should feel, I got somebody that appreciates me. I got somebody that loves me. All right. So, brothers, we got to be better at complimenting, at uplifting our wife, putting them on that pedestal. Right. And sisters, the same thing. They should be looking like, man, I want to be a part of that. They actually love their wives. They actually talk about their wives. They ain't just saying all the bad stuff. You go to these jobs, that's all it is. Everybody talking bad about their partner like it's just a bad thing. And we not care. We'll jump right into the conversation with them. And it becomes what? Wife bashing thing. The heck is that about? I mean, why am I in this conversation where we bash our wife? Like, no, I don't want to be connected with that. I feel sorry for y'all, but if they say, Michael, you got something? I just went, nope. Love my wife. You tell me ain't nothing. That's how we're supposed to be. And it's supposed to be foreign to them. But to us, because we did the right thing, this is how it's supposed to be. All right? Same thing with the sisters. You telling me if a woman trying to get with your man at the job, he gonna do it, you gotta check him, you gotta check all this stuff. No. Okay? So this is where the pedestal that we gotta strive to. I'm saying we gotta strive to. This should be our goal. Okay? Be our goal. Let's keep going. Verse 4.
The wife have not power of her own body, but the husband. And likewise also the husband have not power of his own body, but the wife.
So you're not mad. Well, I'm gonna go do that. I'm doing this, right? Then it becomes the I and the me. That's the killer of the we and us. All right. So we are married. We are one. All right. Well, I'm gonna split this way. I'm gonna split this way. That's gonna kill the body. All right. But we're supposed to be one, moving as one. All right. But a lot of times we get that toxicity start coming in. First thing you want to do is what, beloved? Separate. God said he want to join. Toxicity wants to separate. Okay. So this is what he's saying. Y'all being one. Y'all got power over your own body. All right. But let's read verse 5. And we'll move to the next spot.
Defraud ye not one the other, except it be for consent for a time, that ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and come together again, that Hasatan tempt you not for your inconsistency.
Yeah, and we shouldn't be defrauding one another. Playing these little stupid games, right? Weaponizing the things that the Most High is what? Join together. Oh, well, he didn't want to be nice to me, so I'm just going to hold my body off from him for 6 months. That ain't a guy. He's saying, no, that's what Paul's saying. You can't defraud him like that. All right? If you're going to do that, something like that, that's only, he's telling you what it is. This is only for a time to give yourself to fasting and praying, and you ain't fasting and praying that long. All right? Why? Because you said, well, I'm not going to give myself to him. And then now he's burning up, and guess what? Satan tempt you for your inconsistencies. You're inviting that toxicity in there. And the same thing with the brothers. All right. Sometimes their body ain't the thing that can defraud, right? But whatever it is, your love and affection. Oh, she would act like that. All right, I ain't gonna be bothering her. I'm gonna ignore her around the house. I'm gonna do this stuff. I'm gonna act mean to her. You can't be doing that. You create what? A room for Satan. Where do Satan thrive at, beloved? In our inconsistency, that separation. When we're upset, right? It says the joy of the Lord is our strength. The joy connects us, beloved. So what's the opposite of that? That's what's probably going to what? Try to disconnect us. And this is where Satan thrives at. Oh, they got a problem right there. Okay, let me slide in right here. And sometimes he gets in that little crack, and guess what? He'll never let it get sealed up again. And y'all always at odds. He just needs a little space, beloved. He's a master at what he does. All right. So we're going to make sure we're not giving Satan no room. Let's go to Galatians 6. And then we got one spot after that. All right. Thank y'all for being patient. Thank y'all for being patient. Galatians chapter 6. And let's go to verse 1. Galatians 6. And we're going to go to verse 1.
Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, you which are spiritual, restore such an one in the spirit of meekness, considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted.
All right. Everything I'm giving y'all is stuff I definitely through an experience, right? We can see it with brothers and people outside the house. A lot of times we don't have that passion in the house, right? But we see anybody in the fault, right? If you spiritual, you saying you spiritual, you have the power to restore such a one. So look at that loved one. If they're overtaken, they're doing things that's not like them. Sometimes we know that's not them. That's not my partner. So if that's not them, then we know what? They have been overtaken with something. So what do I do if I have the spiritual eyes to see they've been overtaken? Why do you think God is showing you, okay, something's off. Something's overtaking them. Right? Is he using that so now we can probably tick off that Satan in them? That thing in them? Should we poke the bear? Right? Is that what he giving us? Oh, he got a devil in him. So now I can poke the bear and show him he got a devil in him? Or restore such a one in the spirit of meekness. I love the next, considering thyself. If I was overtaken with Satan, if Satan's having to feel, how would I want to be approached? How would I want to be dealt with? And if we honest, we probably don't want to be yelled at, being provoked and all that kind of stuff. Some people feel like, man, I'm struggling, I'm going through it. And then you got this person trying to hit you while you're down. Is that love? Is that what the partner's for? Is that the union? Because guess what? If we're one, if my partner is feeling down, guess what? I'm supposed to empathize and be in that same mode. I'm great. She's down. So, it's all good. Relationship is good. No. She's down. I'm trying to figure out what? I'm trying to go down to lift her up. She's happy. She's unsatisfied things. It impacts me because we're one. But you see somebody, their partner going through something, they're like, I don't care. That's good. That's them. You'll hear people, that's them. Nah, they ain't supposed to be like that. That's toxic thinking. That's not marriage thinking. Okay. And beloved, if you want to be, I want to put self in the thing. If you want to be about self, all right. And I'm saying, you don't want to have to, ladies, you want to submit to some husband and stuff like that, or a guy you don't have to worry about, the wife, make sure, then you can be single. Like, you don't have to get married. So we know, like, you don't have to get married, right? But when you get married, this is the obligation that comes with it. We're tied to it. Okay. So just be mindful of that. So one in the spirit of meekness, considering thyself, listen, lest thou also be tempted. Now you see with that impact, it can get you messed up if you not handle it correctly. So when you see somebody in a fault, you're being a spiritual person, you're trying to restore them. All right. And restore them how you would possibly want to be restored. At least Satan find a way to get you caught up and overtaken as well. So I told you this stuff, a lot of times they'll get one partner and then they'll try to pollute the other one. All right. We want to make sure if it gets that one person, we want to make sure we kind of get it and get it purged out the household. All right. So you don't think, well, I got to be unhealthy. You'll hear people say that. Well, I got to be unhealthy because they're unhealthy. Right. This is how I got to survive in this relationship. So I can't be like God or do the things of God, right? Because they're unhealthy. I got to sometimes, yell and curse them back and do all this stuff. Like that's going to make it now a healthy relationship. Okay. But a lot of times that's that thinking. I got to be toxic so I can survive in this toxicity. Okay. But that's not good for your soul, beloved. All right. Verse 2.
Bear ye one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ.
What Christ came for. All right. He restoring. And I didn't get to in the other part, beloved, like I said, because of the time, but he talks about that. That mystery with Christ in the church and stuff like that. This is part of it. He came even for the restoration of this. All right. Bearing one another burdens. Okay. Now, like I said, there's always some caveats to this. I ain't gonna go to all of it. Okay. But there's stipulations with certain things, and there's if things is somebody getting too toxic and stuff like that, there's ways to deal with it. Okay. Because if you know what I mean, you do a thing that's going to harm the person and stuff like that. No, you don't have to stay in that household and deal with the harm and stuff like that. We got certain things that we deal with. Okay. But but we can't go into all that today. All right. Last spot. We're gonna go to Tobit. All right. So last spot is in the Apocrypha. It is in the Apocrypha. We're gonna go to Tobit. And I wanted to leave it on this one because it's such a beautiful thing this brother did. Okay. Whether you're married or you're trying to be married, look how the brother entered into this thing. All right. One of the things he did. But this is a crazy story. If I ever had time, I read Tobit. It's a very interesting story. So Tobit chapter 8. All right, what am I doing? Let's go up to verse 4. All right. Tobit chapter 8, and we're gonna go to verse 4. All right.
And after that, they were both shut in together. Tobias rose out of the bed and said, Sister, arise, and let us pray that God will have pity on us.
But his flesh and blood sister, but a sister of Israel. All right. So he got up out the bed and he said, Sister, come, let's pray. Let's pray that God have pity, have mercy on us. Read.
Then began Tobias to say, Blessed art thou, O God of our fathers, and blessed is thy holy and glorious name forever. Let the heavens bless thee and all thy creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Thou madest Adam and gavest him Eve, his wife, for an helper and a stay. Of them came manhood. Thou hast said, It is not good that man should be alone. Let us make unto him an aid like unto himself.
So Adam made Adam and then Eve, right? Going right from the beginning. Them came all mankind. It is not a good thing. Listen, it has said it is not a good thing that man should be alone. So why we try to do this toxic stuff to separate it so we be alone? We put it together so you don't have to go through that. All right. Let us make unto him an aid like what? Unto himself. He made her so she could be what? That compatibility with you. All right. It's a beautiful thing if we do it right. Let's keep going.
And now, O Lord,
Listen.
I take not this my sister for lust, but uprightly. Therefore, mercifully ordain that we may become aged together.
Think about that. He said, Lord, I didn't go with her just for lust. Not because I just see, oh, she got a big butt. I want to do. Nah. Now you can be attracted to him. Don't get it wrong. You can like her for that. But it wasn't just for lust's sake. Because lust is good as long as they lust, right? And we got a story dealing with that in the Bible. It's like, up, oh, no, okay. I just wanted to get that. Now I'm good. And you'll see some brothers. They get you for lust's sake. Once they got that lust, it's like, oh well, I ain't worried about her no more. And he don't have no feelings for you, right? Say, I didn't go in for that. I wanted a true marriage. I entered into it uprightly. Okay, and we supposed to enter this thing uprightly. All right, informed. Okay, some of us haven't been in all that stuff. We're not going to dwell on that past thing, right? But as we look forward, right, and we see the right thing to do it, we want to enter into it uprightly. Go ahead and read that 7 again. I'm sorry.
And now, O Lord, I take not this my sister for lust, but uprightly. Therefore, mercifully ordain that we may become aged together.
Firstly ordained, because what? He ordained that we what? Be one. All right, and that we age together. This is his prayer. And how does the sister answer this? Verse 8.
And she said with him, Amen.
All right. Amen. I agree. All right. So this is entering into what? That union. Okay, that marriage. All right, beloved. That is the end of the lesson. All right, that's the end of the lesson. Hopefully you got something from it. Let us close out, and then I'll just open it up if we got anything further, if anybody got anything to add or share to it. All right. Those that's watching on YouTube, we say Shalom and Ayana Habathum, which means we love you all, and happy Sabbath. All right, happy Sabbath.